this didn't start with the Trump administration. It started with an individual who apparently was either he or he knew someone who was the subject of a case that we brought in New York. And he claims that a relative of his or a friend of his committed suicide. And therefore, he was seeking revenge against me. He uncovered these documents, which were innocent, no intention to defraud anyone, and submitted them to the Trump administration. And they, in fact, weaponized the federal government, DOJ, and decided to, and are basically arguing and have announced that there's a criminal investigation.
Did Donald J. Trump hire you to get political revenge on Letitia James?
No,
okay.
Not at all. I am a blogger. I am interested in New York City corruption and politics. I have blogged about other political figures in New York and other financial irregularities. And Letitia James came to me. I didn't come to her. In other words, I fell into it. And when I started looking at it, I saw really bad red flags. So that's when I started to concentrate on it, as any forensic accountant or investigator would do.
Part of it is, again, this retribution campaign, and it's as a result of, one, the civil case where we secured a $454 million judgment and interest is accruing, which is on appeal in the First Department in New York, and two, because we've been very, very active standing up and defending our democracy.
What was it, the trials that made you start looking into this, or what specifically jumped out at you that you thought, oh, wait a minute, we've got the Attorney General for New York committing fraud?
I did not pay much attention to the trials. I mean, I knew that they existed. In fact, maybe once or twice I might have been critical of Trump during the trial. But at the end of the day, that had nothing to do with my motivations or why I was pursuing it. She was just another name on the list. I wish she was more special, but she wasn't to me at the time.
Okay, so to you, she's just another name.
Listen, a lot of this is performative politics, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this is for headlines. A lot of this is an attempt to basically intimidate individuals, a chilling effect on elected officials who have some steel in their backbone.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Well, let me address the retribution issue first that's being thrown out there. Notice nobody's attacked any of the substance of the work that I've done. Nobody's rebutted it. All they can say is it's not much of a big deal, it's retribution from Trump. So let me address this retribution issue head on.
So the first allegation is that the house in Queens that my father purchased almost 30 years ago, somewhere in the mortgage documents, he indicated that I was his wife as opposed to his daughter. But the deed, in fact, says I am his daughter. My father has since passed, and the house has since been sold. Period.
Letitia James started falsifying mortgages in 1982, and that particular tidbit was uncovered by Joel Gilbert, credit where credit is due, from Gateway Pundit. Now, in the 1982 situation, she purchases a Queens home with her father as father-daughter, but the mortgage shows husband and wife.
Next. There's a house in Virginia that I purchased that I was a co-signer with for my niece. My niece's children, and I wanted to have her home. And so I co-signed the home. When I signed the power of attorney, I did it electronically. I wanted my niece to basically sign for me at the closing. At the bottom of the power of attorney, it indicated that I was a resident of Virginia. Prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker in caps, all caps, I am not a resident of Virginia.
You're Tish from Brooklyn.
I'm Tish from Brooklyn, period.
Her signature is on every single document. And no amount of crying political retaliation, no amount of crying that Trump's after her will remove a single signature from any of those falsified mortgages that she filed. Zero. Her name is there, her signature is there. There are notaries. In one case, which we haven't discussed yet, Her signature is witnessed by two key people in her own office.
And in the mortgage documents, it indicates whether or not you plan on being a resident of Virginia, and I marked no, no, no. But of course, those were not publicly available. The only public document that's available is the power of attorney, which was not a basis for the mortgage.
Now, my whole investigation, and Gilbert separately, has been based exclusively on publicly available documents. We don't steal anything. We don't get anything we don't use any of that. Any information that I get from sources that's not publicly available, I pass it along. I don't want to get involved in that kind of nonsense. And every single document is there, proves that she lied on it's apparent. You just look at it. That's why nobody has been able to rebut anything that I've written about, and I challenge them to do so.
Question for DOJ. They just announced it, and that was it. So I've not heard anything as of yet. But we've responded to the baseless attack, and my attorney has prepared a 2-page, 3-page letter responding to each and every allegation, which is baseless. And let's go through that, okay?
Mm-hmm. You're talking about 43 years, a serial liar, a serial fraudster, of a trail of falsified mortgage documents.
The capitulation to President Trump is pretty disappointing. It's upsetting that individuals decided to bend the knee to Donald Trump at all, particularly at a time when he is seeking to reorganize government, consolidate power.
Letitia James started falsifying mortgages in 1982, and that particular tidbit was uncovered by Joel Gilbert, credit where credit is due, from Gateway Pundit. Now, in the 1982 situation, she purchases a Queens home with her father as father-daughter, but the mortgage shows husband and wife. Now, in 1982, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump was a Democrat. I don't even think he was a Republican at the time. So she committed crimes, okay, or falsified documents way, way, way back.
And in terms of the rule of law, just, dismiss it or challenge it. And we're at the brink of a constitutional crisis. And it should be alarming to everyone who cares about liberty and freedom and our democracy and the rule of law. And these are powerful interests. Earlier, you talked about marginalized individuals who are the victims of the weaponization of the federal government. It's not just marginalized individuals. It's powerful interest in this country.
Okay. She has a home in Brooklyn, 296 Lafayette Avenue. She purchased it in 2001 for approximately $500,000. Nothing irregular there. But from a first mortgage in 2001 to 9 mortgages later, in other words, 9 refinances later in 2021, so it's a total of 10 mortgages. Each of those mortgages lists 4, 3, 2, or 1 units. Not just 4, sometimes 2 to 3, sometimes 1 to 2.
Particularly as attorneys, we have an obligation and a duty and a mission to zealously advocate on behalf of our clients, and not to give in and not to be cowed by the federal government. Individuals expect us to stand up and fight back with zeal.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that they just decided to capitulate.
I mean, I might look at a couple of other things here and there, but I don't want to lose focus on this case because every day I find something new. It's like peeling the onion. You can look at something 100 times, and the 101st time you find something new. The 102nd time you find something even newer. That's the way. It's a process.
And so you cannot hold New York State or any other state hostage simply because we refuse to cooperate.
Now, under New York law, the number of units is defined by the certificate of occupancy. Now, about 2 weeks before she closed on the home, probably when she was in contract, the Department of Buildings inspected the property and certified the certificate of occupancy for 5 units. So under the law, it's a 5-unit building. It's not a 4 or less unit building. The reason that that's important is because 5 or more units is considered a commercial property for underlying standards, which means she has to put up a higher down payment and higher interest rates than the residential property of 4 or less units. So what she did here was on 10 consecutive mortgages, she listed it as 4, sometimes 1 or 2, sometimes 3, etc. But she never listed the truthful number of 5. And in New York, the governing document is the certificate of occupancy. Now, Joel Gilbert and I, that's the guy that caught the mother, father, husband, wife, we actually visited her property and we found 5 doorbells for 5 apartments. I checked the Con Edison records. There are 6 electrical units. 1 for a common area and 1 for each apartment. But irrespective of all of that, the certificate of occupancy says it's 5 apartments, and that is exactly what it is. And that's what should have been listed on her mortgages, which she did not do.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.